Hola estudiantes, ¿cómo están? I hope you're doing well and in good spirit. We are going to continue to study the subjunctive mood, but we are going to learn a new structure today. It shouldn't be difficult, but we are going just to make sure to study a quick review of the subjunctive mood. Just to remind you. Okay, just remember that the verbs in the Spanish language can be conjugated in indicative mood or in subjunctive mood. The indicative mood is a very trustable mood, since we are talking about the everyday things, the things that we do every day that have high possibility to happen. We're speaking in present, past, and future. Uh, we have other compound sentences like presente perfecto, pasado perfecto, imperfecto, and all these verbs that are conjugated in the real world when things are happening or are facts. When the things get complicated and get a little bit less feasible to happen, or less, we have less possibilities that they become a reality, then we're talking about the subjunctive mood. The subjunctive mood is this tool that will allow us to express ideas and plans and opinions and wishes that go contrary to reality or contrary to facts, which will make these things or this context hard to become a reality. It doesn't mean that it never becomes a reality, because sometimes things happen or surprises, but it's very unlikely. Okay, so then we use the subjunctive mood. That's why we have these two moods. Your listener, as soon as you start using the subjunctive mood, will understand automatically that you are speaking about a context that it's unlikely to happen. But sometimes we still need to plan just in case, and sometimes we just want to express what we feel about a reality that we don't like and we can change, but we still have this tool to express, plan, and talk about the future that it's unlikely. Okay, low possibilities to happen, but nothing is completely absolute. Okay, so there is still a minimal room for this thing to become reality, but it's almost non-existent. Okay, so we will continue to study the subjunctive mood. Remember the weirdo word? Weirdo. Why? Because this will help us to remember, right? This will help us to remember the context in which we are going to apply the subjunctive. Wish and want. Quiero que mi mamá traiga pastel. It's very unlikely that she will bring the cake because she's on a diet, because she doesn't like the cake, because she doesn't have money to buy it. I know all the reasons in my head, and my family knows the reasons in their heads, that there is low possibilities that she will do that. But I still, the feeling, the wish is still real. So that part goes in indicative, but the rest after the quiero and after the que will be in subjunctive, just acknowledging that it is very unlikely to happen. So, wish and want. Quiero que, deseo que. Emotions. You can express your emotions. You can say me alegra que, me enoja que, or you can use any other subject. Nos enoja que, nos preocupa que, nos preocupa que la economía caiga. ¿No? Nos preocupa que la economía caiga. I don't know the outcome. I don't have enough information to make a conclusion. It seems that it's going to happen. Maybe it's 50-50 or 51-49, but still there is room for that to happen. But the feeling that I feel worried about the economy, that the feeling that I feel worried, that's real. So that part goes in indicative, and after the que, after expressing your emotion, goes in subjunctive. So you can say me alegra que, or nos alegra que, or te alegra que, te preocupa que, ¿Te preocupa que tu hija salga por la noche? ¿Sí? So when we are expressing all these emotions, which usually use the reflexive pronouns, we use after the que reflexive. Also in personal statements, expressions, or opinions, which ones are these? Remember, es importante que, es sano que, it's healthy that. So, es sano que comas frutas y verduras, ¿no? O que se coman frutas y verduras. Es sano que se coman frutas y verduras. Es importante que salgan temprano del trabajo. They usually start with the verbo es, verbo to be, es, and then the adjective, importante, indispensable, es insuperable. All those kind of adjectives que, blah, 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 in subjunctive, okay? So, es importante que nosotros estudiemos el subjuntivo, okay? So, es expressions. Then we have the requests. Deseo que mi tía venga a mi cumpleaños. It's very unlikely because we are in the pandemic, in the middle of the pandemic, and she is not flying. She's not taking any flight right now because it's dangerous for her health. We don't have the money for the ticket, so whatever reasons, okay? But I'm still expressing that. Deseo, that deseo is real, que mi tía venga. But when I use the subjunctive mood in the second part, my listener will understand that it's something that is unlikely to happen or very hard to make it happen. Doubt or denial. No creo que haya fraude electoral. Haya is the subjunctive mood of haber. No creo que haya fraude electoral. No pienso que haya un virus mortal. No pienso que haya un virus mortal. So even though if it's true or not, that's my opinion, and that it's a doubt of denial about something, okay? Or no quiero que, the opposite to querer. No quiero que mi mamá salga a la farmacia. No quiero que mi mamá salga a la farmacia. No quiero que mi papá vaya al doctor. These are weird sentences, but it's just examples for you to understand that we are using that also for doubt or denial. And that needs to have the no, right? Before. Ojalá. Ojalá means God allows or Allah allows that. Entonces, ojalá in itself, it's a subjunctive expression. It's an automatic subjunctive intro because when we say ojalá, we know in our inside, in our heads, in our hearts, that this wishing or this thinking is really hard to happen. Ojalá que la capa de ozono cierre. Ojalá que la capa de ozono cierre. I really want that to happen, but it's very unlikely. Okay, so this is just a full review, quickly review about the weirdo meaning, which means the context in which we are going to use subjunctive. Okay, we've seen subjunctive in different contexts right now too, in different tenses, and today we're going to learn the pluscuamperfecto del subjuntivo. As I told you at the beginning, this is on page 464, página 464. And we're gonna use this, the imperfecto del subjuntivo, when we use it with the verbos if, we say habría, ¿no? Hold on. Sí. when we use it with the if sentences. But there is another, this is one way to say it. There is another way to say it, which is hubiera. I like to use hubiera a lot, and I actually use hubiera for almost everything. Even sometimes I substitute habría for hubiera, but this means the same. This is the same. But I like to use hubiera when I don't have an if sentence. So we don't mix them and we don't get confused. But if for some reason one day you say hubiera in these if sentences, it's not a mistake. You can use it still. But we cannot use it backwards, okay? So the hubiera is exclusive for the pluscuamperfecto de subjuntivo in these cases. This pluscuamperfecto de subjuntivo is not perfecto de subjuntivo, ¿verdad? It's pluscuamperfecto. So we're going to forget about the number one, okay, for now. And we're only going to use this hubiera, which hubiera is pluscuamperfecto. See, even the name is a little bit different. Okay, hubiera means when we express or we start saying hubiera, it means it didn't happen, it won't happen, it will never happen. But things could have been different. We cannot change the past. It's already in the past. We cannot come back to change it, but we still can express our opinions, wishes, and emotions about the past. And we will use hubiera for that. So on page 464, it says, the plusperfect subjunctive is formed with imperfect subjunctive of the auxiliary verb haber. Oh yes, because this hubiera comes from the verbo haber, okay? Which is there is and there are. In the past participle, so it has two parts. It has the part of the hubiera, and then we will have another verb here. So that second verb will be in past participle, and you already know which one those are. In English are the ones that end in ed. Cambiado, it's hado, ido in Spanish. Cambiado, borrado, encontrado, salido, partido. Hado, ido ending. Those are the past participles. And there are some irregulars like abierto. It's one, no? We don't say abrido, we say abierto. So we need to check the past participles, how to make them, but especially we need to pay attention in the irregular past participles because they are going to be here in the second part of the compound conjugation. Compound conjugation means that you have two verbs for one conjugation in one sentence, okay? So the second part is going to be in past participle of the main verb. It is used in the same way that the past perfect is used in English, but only in sentences which main clause calls for the subjunctive. So listen to this, but only in the sentences in which main clause calls for the subjunctive. And this means that we're the contexts, okay? For instance, in the examples you have, yo me alegré. So yo me alegré, it's emotion. Me alegré, although alegré is in past tense, preterite, de que ellos le hubieran dado el puesto. Yo me alegré de que ellos le hubieran dado el puesto. That's the example that comes in your book, okay? So, let's see how you make it, okay? In the first top box, you will see imperfect subjunctive of haber. So first, you need to know which form of the verbo haber you're going to use for this form, for this structure. So this is the conjugation. Hubiera, hubieras, hubiera, hubiéramos, hubierais, hubieran. That's the conjugation. And then the formation of the plusperfect subjunctive will be, you have the subjects. That's the second box, the box that is below. Yo, tú, usted, él, ella, nosotros o nosotras, vosotros or vosotras, ustedes, ellos, and ellas. So, for instance, if we want to use the verbo hablar, ar means ado ending. So, yo hubiera hablado. Ajá. Tú hubieras comido, comer. It's ending ido. So that second verb is going to be in exactly past participle, ado, ido ending. Hubiera vivido, hubiéramos visto, hubierais hecho, hubieran vuelto. Hablado comes from hablar, comido from comer, vivido comes from vivir, visto comes from ver, and it's an irregular. Hecho comes from hacer, and it's another irregular. And vuelto, it's another irregular from volver, to come back. So you need to go back and check your list of past participles and make sure that you have your irregular past participles fresh in your mind so you don't make any mistakes when you're combining it with into the structure of the plusperfect subjunctive. Okay, then you have some practica, and you will do that as homework. You have also some examples, as I told you on page 464 after the two boxes. The first one I already read it to you. It says, yo me alegré de que ellos le hubieran dado el puesto. In English is, I was glad that they had given. Had given. When you are going to translate had, you say hubiera. And given, past participle, okay? Le hubieran dado. Ellos le hubieran dado. You just need to conjugate the verbo haber, hubiera, hubieras, hubiera, hubiéramos, hubierais, hubieran, according to the subject who's doing the action. Yo, tú, él, nosotros, ustedes, or ellos, right? Then you have another example. Are you following me? Follow me in your books, okay? No había nadie que hubiera visto al jefe de personal. Wasn't there anybody who had seen? So the hubiera, as you see here, the hubiera, it's literally the translation of had. And then you have the past participle here with the ado or ido in the second verb. So you have two verbs. Verbo número uno here, aquí, y verbo número dos, aquí. El verbo número uno, no, had eaten, for instance. Had eaten. It says hubiera comido. So let's say you need to fly to Europe for some reason. And then you didn't plan very well. You are in the middle of the flight. There is no food coming soon because the schedule in the flight says that it's still 5 hours ahead before you have a breakfast, before they give you some food. You are very hungry. What's your thought? I wish I had eaten something before getting on the plane. Yes or no? So how do you say that in Spanish? Ojalá, and ojalá, it's, oh, I wish that. God should have allowed me to, no? Ojalá hubiera comido something, algo, before the flight, antes del vuelo. Ojalá hubiera comido algo antes del vuelo, flight. But I didn't. So we're still expressing something that didn't happen, but we're wishing about the past. Something that we did or we didn't in the past can be changed. So we use this. So you're translating the had into hubiera, and then you use past participles. Remember that in English the past participle is the ed, but in Spanish it's ado, ido. Ado for are, ido for and ir. Okay, let's continue. So you have a practica, letter A, that will be your homework, and then you have letter B, and that will be also your homework. And then you will write for me something like this. You are going to write about things that you hoped would happen, things that you feared would happen, and things that you were glad happened last year. So you're going to talk about last year. I am on Para Conversar section on page 465. Para Conversar section, well, the instruction says that you need to discuss this in groups of 3, but we don't have groups here. So you will do that individually. So you sit down, think about first the things that you wished were different, or you've done that different in the past, in the last year, and then you write down about these things. For instance, I can tell you something about me. I usually express this with ojalá, because ojalá is very practical and I don't have to add any other structures before. So I say, ojalá hubiera estudiado administración de empresas. If I had studied, si yo hubiera estudiado administración de empresas, I would have a better job. Yo tendría un mejor trabajo. But I didn't. I studied languages. Okay? But I really enjoy my job. So it's just an example. But you're going to talk to me about the last year. Okay? So take care of yourselves. Please be careful. We're in contact. You can send me your homework as soon as you have it ready. And you can play this video a couple of times, follow it with the book open, and you keep reading while I am reading it too, so you can catch it better. You can play it as many times as you need. See you on the next video. Thank you.